I'll allow a couple seconds for people to settle in. You can turn your cameras on or off. I understand sometimes in a school it can get busy, so whatever's easiest. You'll notice that when you join the call, you're automatically muted, but this is very much a collaborative call. So if at any point you want to unmute yourself, you want to ask a question, you want to contribute an idea, you're more than welcome to. Or if it's easier, you can also use the chat. We'll keep an eye on that as well. Today we're joined by Rupali Sharma. She's led several of our town halls and she's um, such a great community member here at Montessori Thrive. She's here today to talk about parents. This is a big element in school administration, and it's always good to have these conversations and check-ins to see how we can better navigate our current parent community. She's put together a short presentation, but again, this is a very collaborative workshop, so feel free at any point to unmute yourself, contribute something in the chat. So hopefully we can come together and have some new ideas and strategies when it comes to parents in your community. All right, Rupali, I'll go ahead and hand it off to you now.
Thank you, Camila. I'm so happy to be here. This is one of my favorite topics because when I joined the Montessori community, I joined as a parent. And when I went to various schools to look for a school for my son, um, it was one part was about how my son fit in the school, but the second part was how I felt as a parent when I visited the school. And that experience was quite profound because uh, some schools just felt cold. It was, you go for a tour, you see the school, they walk you through all the processes, and then some schools said, "Oh, you don't even have to come for a tour. We'll send you a packet, and we have a waiting list. When we are ready, we'll call you," and so on and so forth. But the school that really worked for us and for us was where the school engaged with us right from the moment we stepped in, and they were very welcoming. The office administrator got down on her knees and was at my son's eye level. She connected with us with whatever we were doing that day, and it just felt warm and welcoming. And then that experience continued throughout the school year and all the time that he stayed at that Montessori school. And I thought, if I were able to start a school, I would like that for all the parents at our school. Now, saying that is easy, doing it is not as easy. So, I'm going to share today what we have been doing as a part of a journey that we are learning at our school. And I'd also like to hear what everyone in this forum has tried and has worked and things that have worked for them. So, I'd like to start with just telling a little bit about myself. I mentioned to you that I I'm a parent. I went to a Montessori school myself as a young child, and those memories have stayed with me. I'm still in touch with my teachers from my preschool in Montessori. So it's amazing to see that those connections don't just end after the student leaves the school, but carries on through their adult life also. And let me just present it and give me 1 second. I started my journey as a Montessori education with my son, and that has, been very profound in saying, where is he in his education, and how can I be a part of that as a parent? So we were those infamous parents that were always there for all of the events. If the school needed any help, we were always there, and it kept me in the loop. It also allowed me to connect and network with other parents in the community. And so I understand that some parents can do that. I was not working during that time, and so it was easier for me to be available at the school. But then once I started working at a Montessori school, and my son went on, he graduated from the Montessori school to another school. Um, my role as a parent changed because we were not in the same location, and he I had to attend his events at the school and make time for it. And so you also see, the struggles of working parents where they want to be there for all the events, but they cannot be there. And how do you make them feel that they're still part of the community? What are the different touch points for them? So those are the experiences I'd like to share with you today. So, um, what is our journey going to look like? It's going to be that of an open conversation. So, wherever you feel that you'd like to chime in, I would just say, please unmute or raise your hand in Zoom, or you can just type in chat and participate, share what has worked for you. The power of parent partnerships, I can't stress that enough. It is profound when parents trust you and uh, trust the school administration and the teachers. They're going to be there for the long term. The process, though, we really handhold the parents through the enrollment journey. And there's a lot that goes from the first call or the first email to enrolling the child. It takes multiple hours, many engagement points, and now they're enrolled. So then what? What are we going to do after that? We'll talk about that. The going forward from being enrolled, who do you pass that family on to becomes a big point. Then the touch points, the points, the moments in the school year that matter. um, as we get busy, what are the moments that we really want to strategically plan ahead so that you have a plan for everybody on your team knows what we're going to do. And how is the parent going to be informed throughout the school year when they're not in school during vacations? How are you going to keep that engagement high? Because out of sight, out of mind. One of our advisors said, how do you stay in the stream of consciousness of the parents? What are your outlets? And then finally, I'd just like to end with a strategic plan for engagement. So it's not something very big. It's a small document, but if you have it on paper, it's easier to share with your staff, with your community, and then also put it on the calendar to make it all happen. So the power of parent partnership. Um, it's just, as I said, as a parent, I felt that I was part of my son's education. And finally, the parent is making the decision about enrolling the child at your school. So it's not about just serving the student. Once the student is enrolled, that that relationship between the school and the parent has to continue. And whether it's the administrators, the head of school, who is part of that team. And you have to see, is it just the head of school? Are the administrators involved? Are the board members involved? I'm sorry, I put administrators twice. Teachers or parent ambassadors, specialists who are or guests, even the guest speakers, who are the people in your community. And I'd like to kind of just pause over here and see, how do you engage with families when the enrollment is done? Who are the key people that engage with your families?
Hey, Rupali,
Yes. Hi, Vali. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. I just want to share that in our case, when the communication starts with a prospective parent, we
Yeah.
have the admissions director who actually drives that process
Yeah.
all the way until the admission is done. And then after that, basically, she is the touch point, at least for the first 3 months,
Uh-huh.
with the parent to make checking in to see how things are going, if there are any issues and all that. Now, after that, we leave it to the teachers who then interface directly on a regular basis. When there are issues that may come up with the child, Then in the administration part, we have the academic director who gets involved and works with the parents and the teacher to make sure that the issue is resolved per se to satisfaction, or whatever the right way to manage that is. So that's how we after the 3 months, the administration doesn't actively stay involved unless there are some reasons to do that. Now, what we haven't looked at yet, and we haven't done anything about that, is about parent ambassadors. Should we have a parent ambassador assigned to that specific parent? Each new parent should have an ambassador. Now, that we have not explored, and I'd like to get your and others' perspective in case if that is another level that we should engage in.
Yes. And I'd like to hear from all the other participants. What are your experiences once you hand over the student from administration to the classroom teachers? Uh, do the administrators stay engaged, and do you involve parent ambassadors?
I can tell you what we do.
Sure.
And so when we have when we have a more open house kind of day, an inquiry day, we do have parents there so that they can talk to people that are interested in the school. The admin, myself, and the only other person in the office handles all of the enrollment, but we do have a program and we've done a couple different things with parent ambassadors to help that transition. And what we found, we thought it would be a great idea to just assign. And we asked parents, hey, are you interested in being, we called them a mentor, right? A family
Yes.
mentor. And then if they did, then we just sort of compiled everybody and then looked at all our new enrollment families and paired them by class or children's age and that kind of thing. And it worked well for some, but then there were some people that just sort of forgot about it. Some people who said they would do it and then didn't. And so it left the new families feeling, very left out, that, like nobody called me and nobody did anything. And so um, I, I tried it twice. And after the second time, again, it only happened to one family each time, but that's not what you want to do, right? In any situation. So then we tried just having, well, okay, here's a group of people that you could just reach out to. And again, it didn't work as well as we wanted because the onus of reaching out was on the new family. So what we have done this year, what seems to have worked really well, is that everyone wants to be a room parent. Our teachers were like, we don't have parties every month. What would a room parent do? And so really the room parent is more like the liaison for what's happening in the classroom. And so it's an experienced parent. They're one voice of communication that will, maybe send out a reminder or, hey, we do a lot of things outside. And so I know the room parent this year was like, hey, we love these boots. It's great for the kids. Their feet stay dry. And at the same time, reached out to every new family to connect and had a personal experience with them. Like the younger students, they met at the park, like let's have a park play date, and that kind of thing. And then with the older students, the parents would say, hey, can we grab coffee after drop off or something like that? So there were lots of different ways. It allowed everybody to feel connected to the school in some way and really build those relationships. And we just chose for room parents, people that would really want to put in the time and the energy into making those connections.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, you're right about if you buddy up somebody, there's a hit or miss, and we've experienced similar Um, Similarly, that some parents do reach out and some forget to, or they get busy with whatever they are involved in. And one of the things that has worked for us is just having room parents available, and then for the administrator to call ahead of time and say, hey, would you like to speak to this parent? And then make the connection. But it's important to connect parents to parents, because they can, some much like a Montessori classroom where the teacher is not the source of all information, disseminating all information. Similarly, in the parent group, the head of school or the administrator or the teacher is not the only source. Parents can support each other, they can learn from each other. There could be a list of 20 frequently asked questions that you could have with your parent ambassadors to answer for anyone who's coming in. Where do I find these list of supplies that your school has sent, or when does school start? What is the protocol? Some of those things you can already put in a packet, in a welcome packet for the families, and some of it the parent ambassadors can share. Another thing that we do is once the parent is engaged, enrolled at our school, the administrators then hand it over to the program coordinator. And Wali, you said they go to the teachers. That program coordinator sends out a welcome email to the parents who are enrolled. And so now they are officially handed over to somebody, and that email clearly states, I'm the point of contact for any questions. So they knew that during the enrollment time, the admissions team, somebody from the admissions team was the point of contact. But now, if they have questions about the school year, supplies, or anything else, there's a clear pointed out person that they can reach out to with that person's email, phone number. That then we also share testimonials from parents about our school, just to reaffirm that they've made the right decision, that it is a big commitment that they're making, but yes. And then we also send out we give out a small gift. So here you see, as an example, we have a picture frame of the child. Perhaps you can take a picture during their classroom visit, or you can give any other swag that you have. But people want to belong. The first thing is connection. And so giving them something that they can hold on to, a concrete thing that this is ours. And we also give out yard signs which say proud to be a TEC family, that they can display. And that also helps in developing your word of mouth, or people will say, oh, I saw your sign and I'm inquiring, my neighbor is here. So, other touch points, right? Now, once they are enrolled, we still have the spring and the summertime that parents are wondering, okay, we made the decision and there's nothing that's going to happen till fall. Fall is when the child enters school. So, what is your plan for spring and summer? Something that we have found helpful is to have a summer program. And by having the summer program, students who are new to the school get a taste of coming to the school, become familiar with our environment. They get to meet the teachers. We have some of our classroom teachers run the summer program. And then we also have outside vendors who come to run the summer program. So by having that time, which is not as uh, you know tightly structured as a school day is, there's a little more laid back approach to the summer program. It gives parents time to connect with the teachers, with the head of school. They get to see the administrator again. It also allows for a smoother transition for their child. It also allows for the parents to get to know. Last year, we had a student who wasn't truly ready for the Children's House program, but the summertime, those 8 weeks, gave this child enough time to develop those skills, and the teacher and the parent could meet and help the child make that transition easier, and he's thriving now. In the spring, after the point of contact, the program coordinator sends out an email that, we welcome you and your family. Here are upcoming dates. We also invite them for a welcome breakfast, and that's usually in the last week of May or early June. And during the breakfast, we talk about our core values, what makes our school unique, and again, educating the parents about our school. And maybe we give them our core value poster or sticker or something again for them to carry with them so that it's a reminder. And then our office administrator, she always has a bag of think, explore, creation ideas. So she may give them word um, searches or activities, STEM activities to make, and they're in a nice gift bag. So the child can take it home and have that. Then during this time, we also get a lot of questions about medical forms and what supplies they need, what does the calendar look like. So making these available either on your website or an email. Summer mailings, we do 2 summer mailings. So in the spring, after the program coordinator has connected with them, we've met them in person for the welcome breakfast. And then after that, they also get the summer mailing. And if they're enrolled in the summer program, they are in touch with us. As we get into the latter part of summer, August, and so that's when we start up talking about what does the classroom look like, a personalized note from the classroom teacher. The teacher may um, also send books to read, a list of books to read at home. We might send them highlights about the curriculum that's coming up so that they are aware, oh, we're studying these continents and we are going to study um, maybe the work of water in our physical geography curriculum. And so we might give them some pointers about, uh, you know, using those curricular ideas for reading or creating a project at home and bringing it back on the first day of school. And on the first day of school, uh, before the first day of school, we actually have a back to school night, and that's part of onboarding. We give them the parent handbook. So we have our parent handbook that's mailed out in the summer mailing, and parents have to read it and sign it, upload their signed documents so that when we meet them for the back to school night, we can just highlight sections of certain policies from the school. We also invite our parent ambassadors to talk during the back to school night so they can talk about what are the volunteer opportunities for parents throughout the school year. So, something like you mentioned about the room parents, or we need um, parents to kind of lead the gardening project. So, maybe children and parents can work on a gardening project or any other project that we have upcoming. So all of those are shared during the back to school night. Um, there's usually an icebreaker so that parents can network with each other during that time. So it's not just a presentation from the teachers or the administrators, but it's also a time for them to get to know each other. You can come up with so many creative ideas. One year we had parents just with their child's different children's names, and they had to find whose child this label was, and then they could connect and talk to each other. So sometimes you might have to do some social engineering for that. And then the first day of school can be really exciting. You've got a message from the head of school that's gone out. The summer mailing has gone out. You might want the teachers to make a video, or you might show pictures. We did, the teachers were setting up the classroom. So we did a time lapse photography of that and uploaded it, see how the classroom is coming to life. And so also inviting parents and students to come by and say hello to the teachers in the week that's before the first day of school. So just creating that kind of excitement among families. And on the first day of school, having a plan for parents whose children may not separate easily, for parents who want to park their car, come and take pictures, just having, that that time for the parents to make the transition. Transitions are hard, and for some parents, it's like, yes, we're just going to drop them off and move on. And for others, it's a big event. So allowing for um, all types of transitions on that day is helpful. And then after the first day, typically we have just a half day on the first day. And so teachers have time in the afternoon where they can send out a note to the parents just highlighting how the first day was. So giving them an update, because some parents are anxious and you want to make them feel that yes, their child did well, or if they didn't do well, then you may want to address that either that day or over the rest of the week, as you seem as you feel is right for that family. Any thoughts on how you engage your parents during spring, summer, and up leading up to the first day of school? Or any questions about this time?
I have a couple
So
of comments.
oh,
Sorry,
go ahead.
go ahead. All I was going to say is that the many things that you mentioned, Rupali, I think we do the same thing in terms of the first week of
Yes.
the school start, and also what we do now. The question I had was, you said that the first week, do all the students go half day, or
Yes.
they do, even though they who enroll full time and all that? Because in
Yes.
our case, I think we don't do that, and now that may be an issue with some parents, but we haven't been doing that. With respect to the summer camp, I heard what you said in terms of an ideal time for a new student to get started, and then get oriented to the school. In our case, we actively discourage new students starting in summer. And this is the reasoning that we have is this, that summer camps are not typically conducted by the teachers. The teachers
Yes.
are usually off, mostly by uh, experienced assistants who do that. And we felt that they're not really best equipped to onboard a new child and try to deal with all the challenges. So that's why, I mean, at least in our case, that's why we have discouraged that. Uh, but I can see where you're coming from. If you have teachers actually conducting the summer camp, that probably would make a lot of sense.
Right, right. We don't have all of the teachers running the summer camp, but we do have some classroom teachers who do. And it also helps the child just get familiar. But again, Vali, you have to do what's right for your school. This is something that I'm sharing from our experience. Thank you for sharing yours. And Amy, you had something to add?
Yes, I was going to say, in terms of, so I had a lot of things, and now I've got to wrap them all up into one thought. One of the things that we have done with the parents, so we don't have all of the new children start all on the same day. We roll them in, and so that each child in the classroom, so the returning students start, and then we start to phase in the new children. And during those, we start with just a short visit in the morning, so they're not staying the full day. And in that like hour-long visit, we have those parents have a coffee with us so that we have another touch point, and we know that their nerves are rattled depending on how the drop off and the handoff went. And so we can provide, a sense of, and if they're having that coffee, there's other parents there. And so they can have this, it's just a very comfortable part of time. And it's not a very long part of time, but it's enough to make that really important connection of like, gosh, how are you feeling? What are you going to do about it tomorrow? And so we can offer them just a little hand holding, if you will, during that. So that was the parent coffee is one thing that I wanted to share. The other thing is that this year we are starting to very much look at all of these things, right? Like once somebody is enrolled, what are the communication parts? Because you want to have something go to them, not, every week. Nobody needs that much communication and we don't have time to do that. But giving them ideas on how to help them transition. If it's a totally young child, like maybe it's toileting or transitioning into routines and things over the summer. So that's not something we've done yet. It's what the campaign that we're putting together right now. And we decided to have 3 letters go out between now and August. Just giving them a little bit of insight, right? And being very just not I think we tend to fire hose information at our families with all of the preparation for, everything that you have to learn and understand about becoming a Montessori parent. It's a lot of information, and making sure that we're using the right kind of language so that we're not just using, maybe we're explaining definitions and terminology so that they feel comfortable and that they don't feel like from a different world, if that makes any sense. So we're doing that communication campaign, and then of course with the parent handbook, just very similarly to what you've explained. I think that's it for now.
Amy, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I think with Nido, we can have those ebooks, or we can have that information available for parents in maybe 3 emails, or however way you want to stagger it. But having that continuous communication is so helpful. I also like the idea of preparing them for what's coming up. How are you transitioning? Some of this can go through emails, some of this can be on your social media too, because parents are watching your social media. And uh, bite-sized information. How are you preparing? You can even run a poll. How are you getting ready? Are you excited? Here's a countdown to our school year and 30 days to school year. Every day you can add one little tidbit on the social media post, or you can have a blog about toileting, and that's a big topic for toddlers and children's house parents. So yes, I think that also ties into parent education. Like Amy said, you're a Montessori parent, it's different. How do you get to learn about the Montessori lingo? So preparing them, showing them visuals, sharing videos, all of those are helpful during the summer months. Thank you, Amy. Now, once the school year starts, how are we engaging parents at the school? So, we have, this is a picture of one of our guest speakers leading families in bird watching expedition in a park near our school. And the thing is giving parents different opportunities to engage with the community, not just in the classroom, but also outside the school. If you have any events, our school is focused on STEAM activities, and we chose to be in a city so that our students and families could use resources from the city as their outdoor classroom. And so we do outdoor events with our families. But I understand that that might not be the case with all families, especially if you have younger students. Then what are things you can do at your school? One of the things after the first week of school, that first weekend, our teachers either make personalized phone calls or they send personalized emails to all of the families, just sharing one highlight about the child, just letting them know how their child is transitioning, whether it's a returning child or a new student. Teachers send that out, and that is a lot of work. So we do use an AI-generated template, and during the week, the teachers are taking pictures, and during the week, they're creating these emails. You can all schedule them to go out at the time that you want. We also, in October, have parent conferences, and that is more like get to know each other, goal setting, um, come talk to us about our observations and share yours, and together we make a plan. We offer 2 other conferences during the year in January and March that parents attend. So those are very formal conferences. But of course, as need arises, parents and teachers can meet. They can communicate directly with each other. We also have classroom observations starting in mid-October, and they go until mid-April. So mid-October to mid-April, once a week, come and see your child at work. So not work with your child, but come and see your child work on Wednesday mornings. And parents can come in. They have to register, schedule the visit, and they can observe in the classroom. We found these to be, again, there are some parents who absolutely love it and will take this opportunity, and some parents don't take this on. So for the parents who don't take that up, we have classroom visits where parents are invited to come and work with the student. And so they're not observing, but they're working with the student. So we have one in the fall and one in spring. So that's another way to connect, have the parents be part of the school. We, every month, I meet with the parents.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry,
Sure.
can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more detail about your the classroom visits? Like, when do you schedule them? How long are they? I've been in different schools that have done different things, so I'm curious about what your, and then how do you encourage parents to do both? Because the observations are so powerful. But I'd love to hear your details on the classroom visits.
Right. So observations, I would say, work really well with families who are truly interested in learning about Montessori. There are some families who are there because they need a school and they trust us and they're here. I wish everybody would come, because that's the reason we keep that window open from mid-October to mid-April. But parents are busy and they can't always make time for classroom observations. For classroom visits, we do them from 8:30 to 10 o'clock in the morning. So right at drop-off, parents park their car, they come in, they spend an hour or an hour and a half with the students, and then they leave. The teachers prepare the students ahead of time with a work plan. So even though the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds don't have a work plan, for that particular day, we have a special work plan which says, these are the works I want to do with my special friend. And then they list some practical life activities, some sensorial activities, and so on and so forth, so that when a parent comes in, they're not just wandering around the classroom, they have a choice of materials to work with. We do them over 2 days. We do last names A to M on one day and N to Z on the second day. That just helps us not get our classrooms too crowded. We, for our older students, the older students create their own work plans for the families and what they want to highlight. In the fall, when we do it in either late November or early December. By then, the classrooms are normalized. There's a rhythm. Children have had enough lessons that they can work independently. And we write an email to the parents. The teachers write an email to the parents, clearly stating this is not a time for parents to network or for teachers to talk about a particular child. This is not a parent-teacher conference. This is truly a time for you to work with your child. And so that message has gone out a couple of times before the visit. And then in March, we have another same setup, but in March, we focus on the more cultural activities. So children may choose things from science shelf or geography, history, something in art, something in not necessarily just reading, writing, math. They may choose reading, writing, math too, but that's how we set it up. Amy, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Great.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then I have mentioned this Family Alliance meeting. I host these once a month. They're 45 minutes long. And that's when we talk about, what our school is doing. The parents can network with each other. We have the option of coming in the school as well as meeting on Zoom. But it's a great time where, one parent was saying, I'm having a hard time with my child uh, getting ready in the morning. What are some ideas? And another parent chimed in and shared ideas. So it's a dynamic group. I have the opportunity to share what's coming up, where I need help as a school. And then parents can network, parents are in the loop, and they also get to share what's going on at home. Not necessarily all the personal details, but what they're hearing about school from their children at home. Like one student mentioned to the parent, oh, the toilet paper is a cylinder. And the parent was really surprised. But hey, that clearly shows she's learning something at school. And as a 3-year-old, that sounds really sophisticated for a parent who's not used to Montessori. So, some stories parents will share, and that also becomes a nice um, message that you can either use as a testimonial or a tidbit that you can put on your website or on your social media. So alliance meetings are not mandatory. They are for parents to come in. The last family alliance meeting in June, we make it a parent appreciation breakfast, and so all parents, grandparents, babysitters, whoever is involved with the child at the school, we invite them for a breakfast, and we I think you mentioned, I don't know the name of the person from Lupine Montessori, but you mentioned about the morning coffee on the first day of school. We have, towards the last week, we invite parents to just appreciate them. It's a partnership. We're very happy. We've enjoyed your support. The administrators meet with the parents, then they go off into the classrooms to relieve the teachers, and the teachers come in one or two at a time, and they engage with the parents, and they um, rotate, so everybody gets to meet with the parents. We have a nice spread of treats for the parents, and parents generally just chat and share their it's just a informal nice meeting. And then I can't say enough about the celebrations, because that's when you bring the spirit of your school. The children are excited. They're excited about their performance. They're excited about poetry recital or spring tea. It could be a game that you have at a game event at your school. We used to do a game night, and this was pre-COVID. We would do a game night where parents and children could play board games at the school, and then that was a fundraiser. We would sell board games, and uh, parents were involved in running the whole event. So that was wonderful. We also do parent education nights. Every year we read a book together in the summer, and then in the fall, we have a book group and we discuss the book. And then throughout the school year, parents and teachers have the same common language. I think, Amy, you talked about the Montessori lingo, and how do we get parents to use that Montessori lingo? So it's helpful to have read the same book and then have had the same common language. Some of the books that we've read in the past are The Growth Mindset. We've read The Formation of Man by Maria Montessori. We're looking at Tim Selden's books this year. We've done Positive Discipline by Jane Nelson. And then those elements become a part, even during parent-teacher conferences, it's easy for us to use that same language. So what are the different ways to connect with parents? We have the newsletter. I send out a newsletter every week at the beginning of the week, just highlighting a big picture Montessori theme. So for example, right now we are working on the end of the year show. And why is music education important? Why is it important for children to work together in making props and costumes and performing on the stage? What is the learning outcome from that? How does, going out and about, we took our upper elementary students and middle school students camping for 3 days. Why is that experience important? So I talk about it in my newsletters from a philosophical point of view. And then we may highlight our blogs through this newsletter. The classroom teachers write a newsletter at the end of the week. So on Friday or Saturday, they send out a newsletter highlighting specific things that have happened in their classroom with anecdotal information or things that are specific to the classroom, like next week is this child snack week, or here is a birthday coming up. Uh, by the way, here's a reminder for you about the homework, or here's a reminder about um, clothes that are sent home, make sure you bring them back, or whatever the information is. And that just helps families stay in the loop. We also have a CRM. We use School Cues as a CRM to send calendar updates. And that's so helpful because 3 days a week before the event, parents get an update, a reminder. 3 days before the event, they get a reminder. 1 day before, they get a reminder, and on the day off. So they just can't miss. If I don't have time to send out the information, or the administrators don't have time to send out the information, that calendar just keeps going automatically. You set it up at the beginning of the year, and then it just keeps going. Your online presence, what are you saying on the website? One of the things that I've talked to Nido Marketing is, our website is very static. It's more for the families who are inquiring, the prospective families. But how do you make it dynamic for parents who are engaged? Can we have a web page there to talk about, here is important information for the first day of school, here is important information about the event that's coming up? Can we have some engagement on the website? And then also your social media presence, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. How are you engaging there, sharing, information? I think many parents are now more on Instagram. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Facebook is as popular as it used to be before. We have multiple school events, and we try and have a large event every 3 months where parents can come in. But then every month we have touch point events, which are not very large, but small events like come for your child's birthday. We have parent visits, grandparents' day, various ways you can engage with um, with the families. And that's when the administrators are also there to welcome and touch base, and the classroom teachers are also there. And then personalized touch points. This is where, Wali mentioned, if there's a parent who has a concern, if there is a parent who has a question or is just anxious or wants to share something exciting, making sure that you're available, you're responsive, writing back in a reasonable amount of time.
Can I ask a quick question about when
Yeah.
you have your family alliance meetings once a month?
Yeah.
When do you schedule those?
It's on
Like,
the
are they
first
an
Thursday.
evening or? at night?
Oh,
Or, I
so,
mean,
so we've gone through, yeah, we've gone through many iterations. The thing that works best, we've been doing it on the first Thursday of every month from 8:45 to 9:30 a.m. And it's an open invite. People can come to the school and join the meeting and network over here. And, then the parents hang out. They'll go wait in the parking lot, or they'll speak in the playground, or they can just carry their conversation as long as they want after the meeting. But we tried. We polled our families and we said, do you want different times? Would you like 1 month in the morning, one in the evening? We've tried it all, but we finally settled on just the mornings, once a month for 45 minutes, not too long. Keep it quick, keep it meaningful, keep it purposeful, and informative. So then it's meaningful for the parents to take the time. We
and do you sort of prepare a topic ahead of time? Like, do you share
Yes.
what you're going to discuss so that they have, okay.
Yeah, it's mission based, and I
Okay.
always have an agenda. The agenda helps us stay on track. When the parents are in person, they do share their input. Even online, they will ask questions. So there is, much like this presentation, right? I don't do a slide presentation. It's an agenda that I share with the parents. There's a welcome, uh, first few minutes of welcoming them. Then I talk about what's coming up. We debrief on what events we had and what the parent perspective was on that and what the children felt about it. And then in the welcome part, parents often share what they're hearing at home, what they're seeing, how exciting, what the family is doing about the curricular topics. Um, and then we also ask for help. Like, we're coming up with this event we have right now, a gardening project is a big thing at our school, and we ask for donations or ask for families to come and help with the gardening project, and they can work alongside children. Um, we we also talk about community outreach. So if you're doing any community projects where students are either donating items or collecting items for donation, parents can help them. And then there's time for parents to chit chat too.
Typically, how many parents show up in these events, Vali?
Oh, Vali, it could be the same 5 parents who show up,
Yeah, okay.
or
Okay.
depending on the topic, we may have more. For
Yes.
example, when we have our science team fair, and the science teacher and the technology teacher are going to present, we have pretty much 75-80%
Great,
attendance.
great. That's great.
But when it is just, oh, we're going to talk about this spring show and spring tea, that's something parents know about, and then we have usually the same 5. But there's power in the same 5 because those are the parents who also go and talk to other parents at birthday parties and other events. And they are also a good litmus test for you to hear what's working, what's not working. You're not just in your solo chamber, just kind of trying to figure out, did this event go well or not. You get real-time feedback from these parents.
Yeah, we have typically we have what we call the coffee chats
Yeah.
on a
Yes.
regular basis, where either we can everybody can watch a certain video regarding Montessori related subject, or maybe there's a book, like a book club, and talk
Uh-huh.
about a certain book. So we do that again. Probably a handful of people show up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Very true. Very true. And Wally, those are great ideas. The coffee chat, the book clubs. I think that's what people want to do to connect. Um, we've had some events where only one parent has shown up, but
Right.
we've been welcoming to even then. We've not canceled our events.
One question about the comment you made regarding website being more dynamic for the parents. Um, are you thinking of maybe having a separate page for the
Yeah.
parent that
Yeah.
and it requires password to get in?
Yeah. a parent portal.
Parent portal, exactly, yeah. And then they can go and then you can basically put in relevant information for parents to look at.
Right,
And
right.
sometimes you can also have certain forms and things like that they can download,
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of stuff.
One thing is, the free ebooks that we've been doing with Nido, they have been very helpful. And sometimes we even print those ebooks and put them in folders for parents to read because sometimes they may not download the book. So whenever we put a new ebook, we write a blog about it, we put it on our social media, we send it in our newsletter, click here to download it. And that's one way to get them back to the website. Um, we also have testimonials, and sometimes we'll have them go back to the alumni testimonials or things like that. Or the summer program page is very dynamic where they have to enroll. So you can make some of the elements, not everything, but having them go back to your web page is good. And that's only good if you're having information for the parents. Otherwise, they're not going to engage there. So what do we do when we look at it? This is a good time for us to reflect. So at the end of the school year, we meet as a staff for 1 week and then we talk about, hey, what worked and what didn't work, and what can we do better? So over the years, we've come up with this plan where up to enrollment, we have a team. I think many schools, I think Vali, you mentioned that too. There's a team of people, the admissions team, the head of school, uh, administrators, perhaps the classroom teacher who's involved in the classroom visits. That's when we do the tours, visits, interviews. Um, and we depend heavily on automation during that time to send reminders, to send information about the school, to have a workflow where, if they attend a tour, here's the message they get. If they don't attend a tour, here's the message they get. And kind of just keeping them in the loop, making phone calls, organizing free open house events where they can come and try different things. They can come for a tour, they can come for a pancake breakfast, they can come to try their hands at robotics, like highlighting different elements. And then having an information breakfast. Just come learn, about our school. We're coming up with our first year anniversary at our new location here. And at the beginning of our school year, we had sent out a note to all of our neighbors in this area. We are housed in a residential area, and we invited them to come and see the school, and we got an overwhelming response. A lot of neighbors came to see the school. And so now we are inviting them again to say, hey, we've had 1 year here. Come and see how we've grown and be a part of our community. So you can have various types of information breakfasts. And then once they're enrolled, we have welcome events, information packages that go out. We definitely send out school swag at least 3 times a year when they're enrolled. We have, in March, we do a fan event, which is based out of Rick Newberry's Enrollment Catalyst program. And then we, recently for our Mother's Day gift, we made items that have the school logo on it so that they can display it at their house, and when people go home, go visit people, they say, oh, that's a beautiful picture, what is TEC? And somehow that conversation starts. So giving parents different items, concrete items that they can display in and around their homes is helpful. Making sure that parents keep feeling that they've made the right decisions. Yes, there are going to be ups and downs, there are going to be complaints, there are going to be celebrations, but showing parents that yes, you're in the right place. We are here with you, we are your partners. We are going to help bring out the best in your child. And then we've talked about the mentoring program, either buddies or uh, parent ambassadors. We found them to be extremely helpful in helping new parents get on board and answering their questions. And then from the classroom, the teachers send out personal notes, ongoing classroom updates, conferences, celebrations. So that in a nutshell is our engagement strategy for the parents. And so you can keep the parents engaged throughout their journey at the school. So with that, I would say, if you can see that when you have parents who are engaged and informed, they begin to trust you and they want to continue with your school. Keeping a happy parent re-enrolled is easier than enrolling a new family. It takes a lot of effort to engage a new family and bring them on board. But families who feel heard and supported will come back year after year. And then you also have exceptional growth at your school. With that, this slide is very similar to the one that I shared in the last presentation last month, because the same happens with teachers. When you have engaged teachers, you build your community, and the other part is your parents. And when you have parents who are engaged and trust you, you have a vibrant community. So those are the two elements of your community that you have to keep engaged throughout the school year. So with that, I'd like to open the forum for any questions or share your success stories with us. I think throughout the presentation, we had nice conversations, and I'm thankful for that.
Any final questions or comments?
Rupali, you mentioned something about parent ambassadors.
Yes.
Most schools have classroom parents, and most schools also have what they call the PTA, the Parent Teachers Association. Will they be good candidates for being?
Yes, absolutely. Those are great candidates because they are engaged in the classroom and with your school. We decided not to have a parent-teacher organization or a PTA. We decided to have a family alliance network instead, so there's no person who's in charge of a certain thing. We have committees that form. One person leads the committee, and then after the work is done, the committee dissolves. Somebody else is in charge for something else. And that has helped us keep the family alliance, active and not kind of get into any cliques or any issues that we've experienced at other schools.
So you felt that having a parent alliance has worked better than a PTA?
Yes, in our school, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Any other closing thoughts? Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Camila.
Thank you so much, Rupali. It was a great conversation. Thank you to Rupali for putting together such a great presentation, lots of ideas and strategies, and thank you for everyone that contributed. We really appreciate a good conversation here, so thank you. Next week, we'll be talking about supporting neurodivergent children. I know we've had this conversation a couple of times this year, but it's coming up more and more. We're going to be joined by Maria Chaffin from Seeds of Life Montessori. She actually does a lot of work specifically with neurodivergent learners in the Montessori space, and she does training for it as well. So she'll be talking a little bit about that. So if you're interested in joining next week, that'll be our topic. Watch out for our newsletters and our social media for information to register for free. All right. Thank you so much, Rupali, and thank you everyone for joining. Have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.